experience for us at the High Commission, as much as it has for the other people involved in the project. So, but I just want to say a bit about our event today and then about the ideas behind it. This event is the culmination of 4 months of intensive work delivered through workshops, through production of written materials, and a lot, and I mean a lot, of back and forth discussion. And integral to the successful design and delivery of this project has been the unwavering and really enthusiastic support, as you heard, from our partners. And I'll come back to them later. But I have to now up front appreciate the work of our partners, which has been absolutely tremendous. But let me begin by talking a little bit about the concept and the objectives behind the programme. And the idea of the programme was to engage young people in activities that would stimulate their enthusiasm for active civic engagement in their homes, in their communities, and importantly to reject the calls to discord and division that we hear around us all the time. The inspiration was drawn from a similar and successful programme in the UK that was designed by the UK Race and Europe Network, which is a UK-wide grouping of over 170 organisations, mostly in the voluntary, non-governmental and community sectors. And it's funded and supported by the UK Department of Communities and Local Government, part of the central government in the UK. And the purpose of that programme was to tackle the concerns of individuals and communities who were affected by discrimination on the grounds of religion or belief. But beyond this, the objective was to offer a constructive alternative of empowered civic engagement, an alternative to the siren calls of those cynics or those who play on the division to plant extremist ideology. So we thought that this model could be applied here. We took the model and the associated materials, and along with our partners, we applied this to suit the Indian context. And so far, we've been delighted by the response, due in no small part, I might add, to the energy and enthusiasm of our partners, but also, and especially, as you've heard this morning, through the engagement of the young people who took part in our workshops, which has been absolutely tremendous. In the end, as you heard, over 120 students and over a dozen faculty members from 4 minority schools participated in the workshops. And we also held an interfaith exchange session, bringing together students and faith leaders from different religions to share their own experiences of diversity, but more importantly, to understand what they all have in common. Now, this covered a wide range of perspectives and attitudes, some of which cannot be easily reconciled. The end result exceeded our expectations, I confidently say. With limited prompting from the facilitators, the young participants engaged energetically and positively with the faith leaders. And I was personally very struck by the strength of the goodwill that was demonstrated by those faith leaders when they took the stage together, and the profound impact that it had on all of us. We concluded that diversity, be it ethnic, race, caste, or faith, is a source of great strength, not weakness. By embracing multiple perspectives, we greatly increase our chances of finding fresh solutions to nagging problems. But we also agreed that we're not all the same, nor should we seek to be. We all have our own faiths, ideas, values, and beliefs. And these are the things that make up our identity. Without those, we're lost. A monocultural world is absolutely not what we seek. It's about understanding and embracing difference whilst working together where our interests overlap. And there are enough things to worry about in the world today and to solve together to keep us out of mischief. From basic issues like choosing a career, earning a livelihood, concern for our children, to the bigger issues like protecting our environment and preventing conflict across the world. We achieve so much more in all of these areas when we build friendships across ethnic and religious divides, creating the trust that's so important to resolve local disputes, to overcome suspicion, and to defeat intolerance. Now, the feedback that I received from the workshops that I attended convinced me that we were and are absolutely on the right track. Some of the students told us that they were opening up and voicing their feelings in a group for the very first time. They talked bravely and openly about things that go to the heart of their lifestyles and communities. And they worked together to share perspectives and solutions. And key to this was listening carefully and respectfully, seeking understanding and resisting the temptation to judge based on views that had perhaps never previously been subjected to scrutiny or challenge, mainly because everyone else they knew always thought that way. Now, this is the most powerful way to dispel myths and misconceptions about other communities, through direct exposure and communication to each other. And as we heard this morning, some of the teachers too also found their own views challenged. It prompted them to reflect on just how well they understood their own students, with whom they interact on a daily basis and had been doing for a long time, but did they really know their students? The workshops looked at the balance between personal identity and values and responsibilities towards the collective good of wider society. How to be not only good members of their families, neighbourhoods and communities, but also how to be good citizens in both a national and a global context. They explored faith and difference through positive personal stories. Then, with leaders of different faiths, they explored the diversity of views and symbolism of their respective beliefs, including of those who had no specific belief or who still had not made up their mind, and there are many people who are in that situation too. They discovered that, perhaps unsurprisingly, at the core, many of the teachings and values had the same fundamental roots: love, peace, tolerance, and respect for fellow human beings. But that's all very well in the concept, in a workshop environment, in a big conference when we're all together feeling good about ourselves. But it's very easy to forget all of this stuff in the hubbub of daily life when we get back into our day jobs. So the workshops also looked at the impact of modern life, and particularly modern communication tools. Every facet of our lives now is undergoing a profound change at a pace that we can barely grasp. Some of these changes are a blessing, bringing a world of knowledge and understanding to our living rooms, putting the ability to influence many people at our fingertips. But there are also dangers within this, including the misuse of tools like social media to propagate anger, division, abuse, and ultimately to incite violence. To those seeking to sow this discord, differences in faith, ethnicity, and caste are a rich vein to tap in the absence of greater knowledge and understanding. Young people are particularly impressionable and vulnerable to messages which appear to promote empowerment, even when it is through division and domination. No matter how hard we try, we cannot eliminate exposure to these influences. So our best strategy has to be to offer a more positive and powerful narrative, so that young people can make informed choices whilst recognising the impact of their own bias, their own prejudice, which we all have, by the way. At the same time, they can be more confident about themselves and their values, having tested these critically. The result, we hope, is a greater sense of self-worth and self-reliance. Confident, empowered citizens who are not afraid to speak out, but who respect the needs of others. As in every aspect of life, there is a balance to be struck. We need to be able to function in our societies as empowered citizens, keeping pace with rapid change and constantly shifting values and ideals. We need to respect and follow the laws of the land. But we also need to accept and respect each other's deeply held faiths and beliefs. To ignore or denounce these is foolish, because that's what will push us apart and into the arms of extremists. As our students have so eloquently demonstrated, there is a far better way. Increasing religious understanding and respect is an urgent requirement that must not be neglected. A proper understanding of faith is the best way to stand up to bigotry in all of its forms. Moreover, if we value others, regardless of what, if any, religion they follow, and if we teach our children to do the same, we also give them the tools to reject intolerance. If we lay the foundations for open, equal and plural societies, then we also build communities that are resilient to extremism, communities where everyone has the intellectual independence to resist hateful ideologies, religious or otherwise. That, in a nutshell, albeit perhaps a slightly large one, is what this project is all about. Now, aside from a lot of goodwill and discussion, one tangible output of this process is the handbook that was developed to run the various activities, which will be released today. This was based on the original document that was used in the UK project, but it has been adapted to suit the local context. Now, this will be an open source document that's going to be available to any and all institutions who might find it a useful addition to the curricula, and I hope many will take that up. It will shortly be published on the website of our partner, MS Education, who have offered their support and guidance to all of those interested in adopting the handbook. And now that we are talking about partners, I'd like to conclude by thanking most warmly all of those who have worked with us to deliver this project. First of all, our primary partner, Al-Mahdi Al-Ali Al-Islami, for their belief from the outset and for their willingness to take it on. MS Education for implementing it with such vigour, energy and enthusiasm. And, of course, the fantastic Rubaroo team for stitching it all together with their resource support and facilitation. And I must also mention the wonderful students, some of whom you've heard of today, who participated in numbers beyond what we had initially targeted, and of course their facilitators, who were the pillars of this project. They made the whole thing worthwhile, and I wish them all the very best for a bright future as empowered global citizens. Thank you very much.